What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo, where we getting ready to get into another breakdown of Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 3, Episode number 9, titled A Last Gift. But before we get into that, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a thing that we got going on here on this channel, alright? So let's go ahead and get into this synopsis. So it states that Tariq scrambles to get ahead of information that could incriminate the drug organization and jeopardize his family's safety. The feds double down and set their sights on a new target to aid their investigation. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this breakdown, alright? So we start off with both Kane and Tariq. They're running and driving at the same time, about 195 miles per hour, headed to the same destination, all right? So they're both headed towards Davis's office, where we see Tariq headed towards Sack's area, where he's trying to find out some information about his mother, Tasha's whereabouts, where she's hiding, because as you recall from the previous episode, that Sachs pretty much conveyed to him if something happens to him, then he would never find out where his mom is, right? Which makes this whole episode even more, I can't even get it. But anyhow, so Kane finally shows up at Davis's office, and as soon as he gets there, he believes and is convinced, obviously, that Tariq was the one that set up Effie. You know what I'm saying? So Tariq, you know, he and Tariq, they go back and forth, and Tariq pretty much says that Kane has been obsessed with him ever since he got into the picture. Like, you now trying to get on my sloppy seconds when, you know, you want to beat me, essentially. That's what he's telling Kane. And he was like, pretty much all of this went down because of your dumb ideas. Like, everything that you were doing is dumb. So, you know, of course, Kane feels some type of way about that. And then Tariq attempts to put hands on Kane, which Tariq, listen, bro, this is not your neck of the woods. You don't want to lay hands on people. Kane is not Braden. So you might be able to lay hands on Braden like that and get away with it, but Kane ain't gonna let you do that. And right in the nick of time, we see Davis showing up, and Kane is getting ready to knock old boy out. It looked like he had something in his hands or something like that. And Davis is like, hold on, what's going on? Like, and pretty much that ends the whole, you know, confrontation at that point. Tariq gets up, dusts himself off, dust yourself off and try again. But anyhow, man, so after the confrontation, Davis and Tariq go into his office, and pretty much, you know, Tariq thanks him for allowing him to get out of Dodge before the cops showed up. And Davis pretty much conveys to him that he pretty much told the officers or the investigators that Theo pretty much acted out on his own. No one else was involved in this incident. So from there, Davis says that that Sachs definitely deserved a bullet, but it wasn't the bullet of his brother Theo that his ass should have gotten. It should have been a bullet from Davis. But anyway, neither here or there, he's dead and gone, so there's nothing you can do about it at this point, Davis, so we think. So from there, man, Davis goes on to ask Tariq if he was able to find anything about his mother's whereabouts in Sachs' office. And he pretty much said, no, I didn't find anything on my mom's whereabouts, but I did find a photo of a police report with Whitman's signature on it. And while he was talking about it, Davis is like, what the hell? Like, in his head, you can see his mind moving. So Davis goes over to his desk to actually, pick up the key, open the desk drawer, and he pulls out a police report, the official police report that Sachs took an image of. And he asked Tariq, is this the police report that you saw on the photo? And Tariq was like, yeah, hell yeah, that was the one that I saw, exactly. So now Davis is like, hell to the no, like, this is a whole different situation that we got to deal with. Like, I bet right now he's regretting even dealing with Tariq from the very beginning, because at this point, bro, was the money worth it? Was this cash? Was it worth it, bro? Davis pretty much conveys to Tariq that this file was a file for Monet specifically because it tells a lot about, the case. Also, it shows that Monet could have been involved in this case as well. So that was the whole purpose behind, gaining access to this file. Going from there, we see Effie, who's sitting in the interrogation room with both Blanca and Sullivan, and she's pretty much demanding that she has an attorney in place. So she's saying it over and over, and Blanca is like, this ain't gonna work out like we expected it was going to work out. So they reluctantly let Effie go to the holding cell, and they tell her, oh yeah, you'll be able to make your call for an attorney, at the end of the line. Pretty much, you're gonna have to let everybody else in front of you go first. So we find out later on that that's a tactic that they use. I don't know it personally, but I'm just saying this is pretty much what they say. So going from there, man, while they're both standing in the interrogation room, they both receive a text message from Medina. So the next thing we see is Sullivan viewing and crying over the loss of Saxe. Now, I feel some type of way about this shit at this point because there's no need for you to be sitting up here wasting good tears at this point, because recall, you were the one that pretty much told this man that unfortunately I can't provide any protection for your ass. But now all of a sudden you got tears for my ass. I don't get that. I really don't understand it, Sullivan. And then we see both Blanca and Medina back in the back. So I'm assuming that's what the text was about. So the next thing we see is Sullivan sitting at this meeting setting with Medina coming in, and he pretty much states that Theo is actually on camera intercepting Saxe in the parking lot. So that's how everything went down. But while he's in the midst of talking, Belinda is like, not Belinda, but I don't remember some nickname. Blanca is like, Davis and Rollins could have planned all of this shit out, and that's why we were sitting over here going off of what Saxe had told us. And oh boy, I can't remember that agent's name, but he was like, that's why there was nothing at the at the spot that we went to, because they pretty much used Saxe to make us think that everything was going on over here, but instead they were really trying to get to Saxe at the same time. So in the midst of all of that, Sullivan is sitting at the table like, she's pissed off, she's depressed, all of these things all into one. But like I said before, we wouldn't be here, Sullivan, if you would have done what you were supposed to do. But anyway, so she goes the hell off on Blanca, like, shut the hell up, Blanca. Like, there would be no case if it wasn't for Saxe. There would be no evidence. Right now, we need to focus on what's at hand right now, the task at hand. And if Effie doesn't flip, then this whole shit is over. So Medina's like, well, you better go ahead and throw all your cards on the table towards Effie if you want this shit to work, essentially. So going on from there, we see Braden waiting in the parking lot for Kane to show up. So while Braden is in the parking lot, he turns around and he sees this car fast approaching him, and it's Kane driving fast as hell, right? So he gets there, and I'm like, is he gonna run over this guy or not? Like, what's going on? So he finally gets all the way up, and he opens the driver's side door and knocks the hell out of Braden, knocks him to the ground. And I was like, shit, like, what the heck, bro? So he pretty much comes up on him, throws his gun on him, and he's like, man, you set up Effie. So this right here is blaming everybody over this whole situation with Effie. And I'm like, dang, Kay, like, out of all the girls you done had, is this the best one? Because you ain't never acted like this for no female. So I'm like, so look, Braden's like, shit, I ain't have nothing to do with this, bro. Like, all I know is all I was trying to do was get not Effie, but Lauren out of town, like Tariq had conveyed to me to do. And Effie stepped in and pretty much took Lauren away from me. So all of the shit that you bring it to me, accusing me of, bro, you need to shift that to Effie, because I don't have nothing to do with that. But in the meantime, I need to get my ass to the hospital because I feel like something is broken. And Kane is like, yeah, you go ahead and do that. I was like, what the hell, man? You could have given me a ride, bro, or something, help me to the car or something like that. But in the meantime, man, we head over to the Tejada's house, where there's a letter that comes out of nowhere from Saxe and is addressed to Monet specifically. So I'm just assuming, now I don't know for sure, but I'm just assuming that when all of this shit went down, that he pretty much put into order this whole plan to mess shit up. That's pretty much what he's doing at this point, because every letter that he's sending out to someone is messing shit up at this point. So he pretty much conveys to Monet that all the shit that's going down right now with your family, Tariq is to blame for that. Like, everything that's going down is because of Tariq. And in the letter, he pretty much states that he was the one that set up Diana. And Monet ain't buying this shit. She was like, hold on, I don't believe that shit. But Diana's standing there because she really doesn't want to be in this game either. So her reading that on that letter at the same time as Monet, she was like, hold on, wait a minute, this may be true, because this may be her way out of it. It may be her way out. She wants to go down to Spelman. So she ain't worried about Tariq. She already done got the best part of Tariq. She trying to get gone. She ain't trying to. So from there, man, Monique is like, okay, well, we're going to sit back and we're going to see what happens. We just going to calm down a little bit. From there, we see Tariq and Brayden. So Brayden is now at the hospital in the bed. Damn, he got in there fast. So he's at the hospital, and we see Brayden and Tariq going back and forth like, why did Kane do this? Why did he come for me over this whole Effie situation and Lauren situation? And from the look on Tariq's face, Brayden can pretty much tell that he knew more than what he had pretty much told him. So he said, oh, you knew about Lauren being alive. So Tariq was like, yeah, but why would I tell the ones that were trying to kill Lauren that she was alive? But Brayden is like, look, we got to do better on this whole communication thing. So from there, Tariq pretty much tells him that he needs to contact Obi, tell him that they're going to be a little late with their payment, but he decides to take over for that, that whole situation, because Brayden is like, he's too hurt to do shit. Like, I just need to take a break. I need to sit down and play, PS5 or whatever else I need to do, hook up with some honeys. So he ain't really focused about the game right now. Tariq, right now, he's worried about being laid up right now and getting a little bit of something, all right? So from there, Tariq leaves the room, and he pretty much, before he leaves the room, he pretty much tells Brayden to go ahead and get your ass up out. You are discharged. Make sure you do what you need to do, or go even look up, look after your Uncle Lucas. Do some shit. So from there, we see Tariq calling Lauren, all right? But we see her actually in the midst of texting Tariq at the same time, asking him about the whole situation with the death of Saxe. And but he's calling her at the same time, and she decides not to pick up the phone when he calls. So he's asking a question, or he's leaving a message rather, asking her about this whole situation with the RICO trial. Like, are they coming for us next? Why are you ghosting me? Go ahead and pick up the phone. Let her know what's going on, pretty much. So from there, we see Monet sitting at the bar, and Evelyn comes in. Now, this is when the shit starts to hit the fan, all right? So when Evelyn comes in, she throws her shit off to the side, like, hey, where's Drew? And Monet is like, okay, what's good, Evelyn? Like, Drew ain't here. You got something to get off your chest, go ahead and let me know what's going down. So Evelyn is like, shit, look, we already seen a video. Like, there's a video that's going out, and Monet's like, shit, I ain't on no YouTube. She was like, look, I ain't got time for games. Like, what you got? Go ahead and say what you need to say. So Evelyn pretty much tells her that, hey, it was pretty much a confession. Drew was pretty much confessing that he knew where my son was, that he had killed my son or did something to my son, and I need to talk to Drew. And she was like, look, I protected you. I pretty much did what you wanted me to do. I don't want any war with the Tejadas. I don't want no bad blood. I just want to find out what happened to my son, Gordo. As a mother to mother, I just want to know. So she's coming from a genuine place, but see, she went wrong when she started throwing out the little threats right here. Like, hey, look, I gave you grace. I was like, oh, hell no. what you mean you gave me grace? So of course Monet was like, what the hell are you talking about? And now she calling her out of her name, all this shit like that. I was like, damn. So Monet was like, okay, what you want to do then? Because now it sounds like you trying to threaten me. So while they in the midst of getting all this shit heated up, right? Kane steps from the backside, and it looked like they had this shit planned from the get-go. So he's standing in the back of Evelyn, and he comes into the room. He was like, what's up, Evelyn? So he pretty much lets her know, hey, it ain't about to go down like that right here. I'm about to protect moms right now by all means. So you see Evelyn, fix her face, and she pretty much walks her... she walks herself up out the bar, man. So from there, we see Drew coming from the other side of the bar, and he's coming in while Kane is on the opposite side and Monet's in the middle. And Monet pretty much turns to Drew and say, hey, this shit ain't gonna stop. She already knows that you were the one that had something to do with Gordo's missing, his whole exit on this earth, right? So he's pretty much like, I'm gonna handle this shit. Like, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of all them niggas, right? So I was like, damn, for real? Like, I thought we weren't gonna have no war. So Monet's like, whatever you do, don't make it where it's gonna come back on us, all right? I don't care what the hell you do. Just make sure that it's clean and that it don't come back on us. I was like, all right, Monet, well, here it is. I guess we're going into war. So after that, we head over to the warehouse where we see Obi, who's doing some oral surgery on the guy. And so obviously, old boy didn't pay up. Obviously, and Tariq don't want that shit happening to him. So every time, and you could tell because every time Obi does something inside old boy's mouth, Tariq is turning to the side like, oh shit, oh hell. Nah. So anyway, he's pretty much there pleading with him to give him the opportunity to pay the debt that they owe to, Noma. So he's pretty much like, hey, give me what I need so I can make this happen for you. But he was like, Obi is like, I would actually love seeing Noma do what she needs to do. But Tariq is like, let me know what I need to do for you so you can do what I need you to do for me. So he pretty much goes to Tariq and he says, well, this is what I need. I need green cards for my family members who are still in Nigeria. And the only person right now that has the pull that I need to get what I need is Noma at this point. So my question here is, Obi only working with Noma to get to the end result, which is his family back over, to where he needs them to be? And then will he follow, will he continue to follow Noma? I'm just interested. I just thought about that a little bit while I was recording this. But anyhow, getting back to the episode, Obi is like, if you can do that for me, I might be able to work shit out for you. So he pretty much tells Tariq, okay, if you can make that happen, I'm going to give you 72 hours, something like that. I'm going to give you so many hours. I think it's 72. I think he said that. I'm going to give you this amount of time to be able to do what you need to do. If not, then we're going to have to go over to Noma and we're going to let her take care of it from there, all right? So from there, Tariq is like, okay, I got you. I'll make that work. So Obi is like, okay. So from there, we see Tariq and Tate. Tate is always in some shit, all right? So he pretty much conveys to Tate that he needs some green cards and we need you to hook this up for us. Now, of course, Tate ain't about doing shit for free. So at this point, Tate is like, okay, but my image ain't good being seen with y'all because everybody y'all hot on the street. So yeah, I know you've been paying me 5 bands, but I need you to give me some more money. So Tariq is like, hell, I'm already paying you. I'm already paying you this amount of money right now. But no, Tate's like, no, that's not enough. Like, my image and what you're asking me to do, it's a whole lot on me. And then he was like, okay, this is what I need to know from you. Okay, Western Holdings, they're asking me, or they're trying to give me a position at their company, but I've heard some negative shit about the company, and I just want you to be, straightforward with me and let me know what's going on. And Tariq is like, and I wish Tariq would have handled this a little bit differently, but he pretty much conveys to Tate that everything's on the up and up in Western Holdings, which is a motherfucking lie. And we already know that, Tariq, so just go ahead and be straightforward. But I know you're trying to play both sides of the fence. But at the same point, we see that Tate pretty much knows that Tariq isn't being straightforward with him. So you see when they separate, Tate is like, with your lying ass. Like, he already knows Tariq isn't telling the truth, because obviously we see later that he's been working out some things behind the scenes as well. So going on from there, we see Tate and his girl. Oh, he gets on the phone with his girl, Harper, to, try to work things out, because, with his lying ass, he done messed up some great things going on with Harper. So the next thing we see, Tate, Harper, and this guy, really can't recall his name, but obviously he's investigating something, obviously, because he says, no one is really listening to his investigations that he's already put out there in the world for them to hear, right? So Tate pretty much tells him, look, I know something isn't right with this company, and the old boy pretty much conveys to him, like, yeah, that wouldn't be far from the truth at all, because from my research, I've seen where things have not panned out. So obviously, either through accounting or something, he's been able to put it together that obviously Weston Holdings has been hiding something, and he says, I'm willing to do whatever we need to do. And old boy conveys to Tate that I know that you're just not doing this shit out of the kindness of your heart. I already know that you have political motives in all of this. So, it's a win-win for both of us. So Harper is like, are you sure you want to do this, Tate? And he was like, yeah, most definitely. And she pretty much tells him that it's going to be a dangerous situation, because when you start dealing with people's pockets, people get antsy, right? And they would do anything to get rid of the individuals that's, taking money out of their pockets. So right now, Tate might be public enemy number one in New York on Wall Street if this shit goes down. So going on from there, man, we see, what's his name, Davis in the interrogation room, and we see Effie walk in. So she was like, look, I don't need no help from Tariq. And he was like, listen, I'm just here to aid you in this situation, because number one, we all in this shit together. But of course, Effie is like, look, I ain't really got time for you, and you not really here for me, for real. I got a real attorney coming, and from the smell of liquor on your breath, obviously you're not coming in here very serious as well about this whole case. So from there, he pretty much gets up and he says, okay, well, I can refer somebody for you. And she was like, well, I already got something going down, but I'm not able to call out, something like that, to that notion. And he pretty much tells her that, that's part of their tactics, to keep you, hard up, sitting there focused on trying to get out, but they're making it harder and harder for you to really be in contact with people. And she was like, is that legal? He was like, well, it's not illegal, but it's unethical. So, I'm learning a lot of shit from this show. But anyhow, when he's getting ready to leave, y'all, she was like, hey, and tell Tariq. And then he looks at her like, okay, what you want me to tell him? And she was like, never mind. Like, I don't know what it is with her. She just can't be straightforward, but she still stand dedicated, y'all, which I didn't expect her to do for this long of a time. Because right now she's holding on, and I don't know if Blanca and Sullivan come at her in another way that she's going to be able to do that. But right now she's holding strong. So from there, we head back over to Weston Holdings, and we see the FBI. They involved, y'all. They in the building. They carrying boxes around. They bringing their shit in, and they getting ready to start investigating. So we see Braden's father. We see Kiki, Do You Love Me out there. We see all these folks out there, and with their arms folded, like, what the hell is going on? And Braden's like, yeah, I mean, we ain't had nothing to do with this. And his dad's like, shut the hell up, not right here. So from there, they all head into a conference room. So we see Braden talking to Kiki, and he's asking her where Uncle Lucas is. And she was like, oh no, he been ghosting me. He ain't been returning no phone calls, and he pretty much sent me out here to try. I was like, damn, Kiki, that's how they do. I'm just trying to tell you. But that's, you jumped in bed with this dude, and now he left you out to dry. But anyway, so from there, we see Braden's daddy going off on Kiki, like, hey, Kiki, where's Lucas at? And she was like, I don't know where the hell Lucas is. I've been calling him. He been ghosting me. He ain't returning no phone calls. And while she's in the midst of talking, Braden's older brother, is like, what the hell? Like, we know y'all been effing. And Kiki, do you love me? It's like, hold on, wait a minute. Speak what the hell you know, not what you think you know. Secondly, she really wanted to tell him, no, the real situation has been going down between me and your brother Braden. But we ain't gonna say that shit right now. So Braden pretty much breaks down everything to his father and his brothers and everyone in the midst of that whole situation. That is true. And his dad is like, what the hell? Like, for real? All of this is real? So then he starts talking about getting the attorneys involved and shit like that. So he already knew what to do when the shit hit the fan, right? But he just didn't believe it because he still believes in his brother Lucas, all right? So from there, we see Sullivan and Blanca, they're coming back into the office. And while Blanca is still in the midst of talking, Sullivan looks down at her desk and she sees a letter addressed to her from Saxe. And I'm like, what the hell, bro? Like, from the grave, this is out here writing letters. So it's addressed to Jenny Sullivan, and he pretty much tells her all this stuff about, you know, his love for her and where he really wanted to start a family with her and all this shit like that. So she starts to break down and cry and all this stuff, and he pretty much tells her to give up the case. Like, it's more to the world than what you guys are doing right now. But of course, she ain't trying to hear all of that. And then, of course, Blanca picks up the letter once she sets it down on the desk. And Blanca's like, so it was more to y'all. And in the midst of all of that, Sullivan turns around like, hell no, I ain't giving up on this case right now. Because in her heart, she feels like she's lost so much. Like, now she's lost a man that loved her and she actually had feelings for her, even though she was pissed off at him previously and wouldn't give that man no security. I'm just saying, you didn't love him that much. But anyhow, so next we see both Blanca and Sullivan coming out to Davis at this point, who's leaving the interrogation room where he just left with Effie. So they're pretty much telling him that, hey, we're going to talk to your client and we got a deal potentially for your client. He was like, unfortunately, I'm not going to be working for her. She got somebody else in the works. So they was like, okay, but we still got to work with you and deal with you because now we're going to bring charges on you as well because that we pretty much know that your hands are dirty in this as well. And he was like, bring what you want. But he said, y'all ain't got shit on me, essentially. That's what he was saying to them. And they was like, no, we know that you had something to do with this whole situation, with the file from Whitman and all this shit like that. So they get outside and they still going ham, man. Like, I was like, damn, lay off a little bit. So when they get outside, Sullivan is like, look at her face, man. Like, she going hard in the paint right now for this whole situation. And she was like, no, we're not letting this go. And we're going to come after you. And we're going to come after your whole situation. And he was like, try it. He said, I wish that you... He said, I want you to do that because he said the person that's responsible for Saxe's death is you. You pointing fingers at me, but the real is you. And then he walks up out this place. So they stand there in disgust looking at that man. They looking at him like, man, I hate you, bro. But anyway, man, going on from there, we see Tariq and Braden down in the parking lot. And they standing out there talking. And Tariq pretty much tells Braden, look, you need to do what you need to do at this time. Your hands have been clean this whole time. No blood on it, no nothing. We need you to handle business. And that means right now, getting rid of your Uncle Lucas. So Braden's like, what the hell? You think I'm going to, kill my uncle for this shit? And he was like, yeah, that's what you're going to have to do. Or it's us. So Tariq is pretty much like, look, bro, all this time you've been riding. Yeah, you've been doing some goods in and out here, but we need you to get your hands a little bit dirty right now. And Braden pretty much tells him, hey, I don't want to end up like you are. So Tariq is like, what the hell you mean by that? And he was like, where I'm killing my family. And he was like, look, that ain't got shit to do with this right here. What I need you to do is handle business. All right. So going on from there, we head over to the Weston house. So everything is in turmoil right now. And, the oldest brother is talking about how in the world they freezing our personal assets. So unfortunately, obviously, he doesn't understand how the law works. If you've been stealing money from people, then more than likely you've been putting it in personal accounts. So more than likely they're going to freeze all your assets. All right? Maybe you need to understand the law. See, people ain't as bright as they think they truly are. But unfortunately, he going to learn today. That's so Braden's father is like, look, we need to work this out. So he's really still not believing everything that's been said about his brother, and pretty much his wife, his son. Everybody's like, look, we need to flip on Uncle Lucas, because obviously he done left you out to dry. We can't find him. He's in hiding. He done cleaned out his daggone house and everything. They done sent the daughter over there. She can't find him. Ain't nobody been able to locate Uncle Lucas. But he's still believing down in his heart. I guess he really believes in that song. What's that song? What's that song by Journey? Don't Stop Believing. He really is not. He really ain't stopping believing right now. But anyhow, while they're in the midst of arguing with one another, going back and forth, and Braden and his brother getting into it with actual physical force, there's the doorbell that rings. So now at the door are FBI agents, and they're calling the dad out. We need to question you about some shit that's going on. So now it's getting more real, y'all. So Braden comes to the door, and he was like, what we need to do, Dad? Like, what's going on? And his dad pretty much conveys to him that sometimes you got to do the hard shit. That's pretty much what you're going to have to do. And I think that resonated with Braden a little bit from the previous conversation that he had with Tariq, where Tariq was pretty much telling him, hey, you need to do something, because if not, it's going to fall back on all of us. And right now, watching his dad go out this door with these officers or agents or whatever they are, it's getting real at this point. So Braden finally realizes that, hey, I'm going to have to step up to the plate. So from there, we head back over to the FBI office, where we see Medina, Sullivan, and Blanca. Everybody's in the office, and they had just received a phone call from, guess who? Uncle Lucas, who is now sitting at this lavish, looks like a penthouse or something like that, and he has everything decked out. Looks like he's been there for a while, right? So he's pretty much telling them, like, hey, I need immunity from all of this. I don't want to be involved in none of this. Definitely in this Ponzi scheme that I knew nothing about, which we know he's lying about this whole situation. But of course, he's trying to point fingers at other people. So at this point, he's trying to give them anything to keep them off his back. So pretty much he says, hey, I also know of a drug situation that went down in Western Holdings that I would happily share that information with you, but I also need to make sure that my name is clear of all charges of everything that went down with Western Holdings, because I don't want shit to do with that. So from there, Sullivan gets on the phone, and she was like, okay, well, we need to find out what you know. And he gives her a little bit of information, just enough to lick on her fingers with, but that's it. Nothing else. He says that's where we're going to start. So they was like, well, if he can give us some information, possibly we can work out some deals. So going on from there, we see Braden and Kiki, Do You Love Me? It looks like at her room or an apartment or something. And she's pretty much, she's trying to get up out of Dodge as well. So we see her cleaning her drawers out and everything, trying to get some clothes together so she can jettison. And Braden's like, where the hell you going? She was like, look, I don't have white privilege. I don't have any of the things that you have. And right now I'm embarrassing my parents. Like when I first graduated from college, Lucas pretty much used me to do, whatever he needed me to do at Western Holdings. But right now I would have, if I did come around and start saying shit, then that would embarrass my family, embarrass me as well. So I see what she's talking about. But at the same time, Kiki, I mean, you did get involved with this, knowingly. Like, you were not really forced into it. And I know she's saying that I had no other choice, but you always have a choice. And we need to understand that in life, we always have choices, man. So sometimes we make great choices. Sometimes we make bad choices. And right now, Kiki is finding out that she made the wrong choice with the wrong dude. And unfortunately, everything's, falling upon her plate at this point. So from there, Braden is like, look, I need you to trust me. I'm not my uncle. I need you to trust me. I'm going to make this work for you and me. She was like, so what you going to do? I'm like, yeah, what you going to do? So from there, man, look, all right, so this is the point where it starts getting from good to great. All right. So now we head over to the spot where Evelyn and the brothers are. Everybody's in there. They chopping it up. We see her with the pictures, blowing out the candles and all that shit like that. And we see them closing down shop. So after they get ready to close down the last door, we see Cain hop out of a truck. Looks like a food truck or something like that. And they start closing doors, locking doors, placing screwdrivers in places. And next you see Drew on the top of the building with a trash bag on top, taping it up with duct tape. And I was like, oh, hell no, they about to suffocate these out of here. I was like, oh, man, this is about to be good. So I wonder who put this plan together, because obviously it wasn't Cain. I'm assuming it was Drew. I'm just assuming it was Drew, because what he said earlier is, this is my doing, I'm going to take care of it. So I just believe, honestly, in the heart of hearts, that it's Drew that put this plan together, and Cain is just following through. All right? So nothing to take away from Cain, but he's the muscle in this situation as well. So from there, they start to let, you see them go to the truck and they let their pipe go. So they start to, allow the fumes to go into the building. So the next thing you see is the family inside. They're choking. They can't breathe. Everybody's falling to the ground, and Evelyn falls down to the ground. And finally, once everyone falls down to the ground and is passed out or dead or whatever they are, we see Cain opening the door, and these put on gas masks, and they came prepared. Like I said before, it had to be Drew with this plan. All right, so once they get in there, they checking everybody's vitals, make sure everybody's dead and gone, whoop, whoop, whoop. And then Drew happens to stand over Evelyn. So he's looking down at Evelyn, because I believe honestly that Drew is saddened about all of this. He really did not want to kill Evelyn. He really didn't want to kill any of those brothers, because they were like family to him. You know what I'm saying? They grew up together. And so when he leans over Evelyn, he notices that she's still not completely passed out. So when he goes over, he turns her head slightly towards him, and she reveals to him that Monet, his mother, was the one that was involved in this whole situation with Lorenzo. She wanted Lorenzo dead. And of course, I was like, shit. Like, it's about to go down, bro. So in the midst of all of that, he pretty much takes her breath away. And, she's no longer here, man. She with the ancestors, man. So from there, Cain comes over, and he was like, everything good? He was like, yeah. He said, did she say something? He was like, no, she ain't say nothing. So then Cain walks away, and you can see with the look on Drew's face, he's highly pissed, because at this point, everything that he's been fed has been a lie. So right now, he's looking at the fact that he just killed this guy over a lie, because of something that someone else, his mom, had, pretty much put together. So at this point, we head back over to Stansfield University, and we see Tariq in his room, and he's texting, someone's texting him. Oh, Pink is texting him saying, your boy's headed to the condo in Tribeca. So from there, he says, text me to Addie, and I'm on my way. All right. So from there, he gets a knock on the door, and it's Diana. So when Diana comes in, she's pretty much trying to find out a little bit of information. So from the information that he tells her, like, I ain't had nothing to do with no setup. Like, I ain't trying to set you up or nothing like that. And then she says, so you're not working with the feds? He was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, why would I be working with the feds when the feds were the main ones that messed up my whole situation with my family? So what would make you think on God's green earth that I would be the one to ever work with the feds? And she was like, oh, okay, so you're telling the truth. He was like, yeah. And then while they're in the midst of conversating, RSJ calls Tariq's phone. So he picks it up, and he's like, look, I got more to say, but I can't really say much about it right now. We can talk about it later. But right now, I got to take this important phone call. And from there, she walks out of the room like she's totally pissed off. And he picks it up. And RSJ is like, look, why did you not tell me that Tate was pretty much going to go out here and snitch on the whole situation? And Tariq is like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, for real? So he's like, okay, I'll take care of it. Word. So from there, RSJ is like, yeah, you better take care of it. Like, at this point, like, everybody's money is gone in this situation, right? So from there, Tariq leaves his room, and we see Diana hiding behind the corner, peeking out, right? So I was like, hell, what's she about to do? So then she takes a card, sneaks into the room. Now, this is all I'm going to say about this whole situation. You got to be careful what you're looking for, because sometimes you just might find some shit. So Diana thought she was going to go in there and find some shit on Tariq that was going to, show that he's working with the feds. And unfortunately, she found out that her mama was working with, to get her daddy killed. You better be careful what you're looking for. That's all I'm saying, Diana. So she's looking around the whole room and she can't find nothing. So then she just so happens to look under Tariq's mattress and she sees all the money up underneath, but she also sees a brown file folder. So she opens the file folder up. Now, I thought Tariq stated that he was going to get rid of the file. So why is the file up underneath your mattress, Tariq? That's not really getting rid of it. Per se. So anyhow, we see Diana opening up and she sees the information about Lorenzo's partial fingerprints. So it's just like, what the hell? So of course she's going to bring that information back to her brothers, right? So now we see them back at the penthouse and we see Diana talking to Drew, and she's pretty much like, what the hell is going on? Like, why were Daddy's or Poppy's fingerprints at the crime scene where, Zeke was killed? And Drew was like, almost talking to himself, like, Monet has something to do with this, because that's what Evelyn pretty much told him. So he was like, Monet has something to do with this because she knew what went down with Zeke. And Kane shows up and pretty much they say, and you knew all about this. That's the reason why you were acting like that with Daddy, because he wouldn't say shit to you when you made decisions, and you knew about it the whole damn time. He was like, yeah, I knew about it. So they was like, hey, you messed up in this whole situation as well. But all of this stuff is shifting back on Monet, because they're thinking about, now, if she can kill our dad, then that means she can kill our asses too. And that's for real. So from here, we see them head over to the Tejada's house, where we see Monet. She getting ready to grub down on some food. And she was like, oh, if I knew y'all were coming, I would have made some more food. So while she in the midst of saying that, Diana interjects and she was like, see, you could have told us what went down with Daddy. Like, you didn't have to lie to us. And why were Lorenzo's prints at the crime scene? Whoop, whoop, whoop. And you killed Daddy. And they were going in, right? So Monet is like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. She's still playing with that poker face at this point. And she was like, I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. And Diana's like, look, you don't even have to lie about that. And Drew was like, here she go with these lies again. So, listen, y'all. I understand y'all upset at y'all moms, man, but at the same time, Diana probably got something sitting right up under that dining room table right now. And just because you all are her children, that is the only reason why she didn't pull it. I'm just being dead ass. All right? But at the same time, Diana has to be careful as well, because these kids can pretty much leave her out to dry as well. But anyway, it hits hard, man, because Diana is ready to fight her mom. Drew is trying to pull her away from her mom. And then Drew is trying to protect his sister as well. So with all the pushing and the fussing and the cussing going on, pretty much everybody's like, look, I'm done with you. She's done with them. She was like, I don't need y'all. And the children pretty much leave the house, all right? So from there, we see Monet standing there pissed off as ever. And, it is what it is. And I hate to see that with family, man. But sometimes, it is what it is. So from there, we see Tariq, who's meeting this woman out on the street who has been watching, Uncle Lucas the whole time, or Braden, one of the two. I'm assuming Uncle Lucas. So she's standing out on the side, which he pays her with a large sum of money for doing the job for him. All right. So from there, we see Braden up in the penthouse talking to Uncle Lucas. So Uncle Lucas is like, "Look, I'm good. I'm just trying to work this shit out for myself to be good. I ain't really concerned about y'all because really and truly, I ain't scared of none of your thug friends, none of that stuff." See, this is the problem, Uncle Lucas. The people that you calling thugs and things like that, these people, they will get you one way or another. And unfortunately, you got one that's standing in your midst right now that you just don't know for sure what he is. But you're going to find out today. So Braden is standing there pleading with his uncle, "Look, just sign these documents, just taking everything off of everyone else," stating that you pretty much knew that this was what it was. And Uncle Lucas is like, "No, I'm going to pin this shit on all of y'all. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I ain't going to no third world country when I got it good right here. I'm going to put that on all y'all, and I'm going to be living good." So in the midst of all of that, Braden gets pissed off. He turns his back on his uncle a little bit, and then he runs hard as hell, knocks his uncle off the building. I was like, "Damn, Braden." Knocks him all the way down, and Tariq is standing right there in the midst of it. I was like, "Run, run, run. You don't want to be seen on video like that, bro." So next we see Kane at the jailhouse, which he's going to see Effie, and he's pretty much trying to tell her, "Hey, I'm here to support you. What we need you to do is pretty much put everything on Tariq," because he feels like Tariq is the reason for everything going on with his family right now. The reason why this shit ain't working out for nobody right now is because of Tariq. That's honestly what he believes. Effie is like, "Look, I ain't got nothing to do with that, and I'm not about to sit right here and flip on Tariq, because she got feelings for Tariq. So she knows what she did has hemmed her up, but she's not going to flip on Tariq. Not like Kane is telling her to do, right?" So Kane is like, "Look, you need to go ahead and do what you need to do to get this shit off of you as well as off of us." And she was like, "Look, you need to go ahead and get going. I got a real attorney coming. Don't worry about me. I'm going to take care of me." And he was like, "F you." She was like, "F you back." So look, obviously, Kane he's caught feelings for Effie, right? But Effie ain't feeling the same way about Kane. Yeah, there's some likeness there, but she ain't feeling the same way about him as she's feeling about Tariq. Alright? She really got some hard feelings for Tariq. They got some years together, bro. Y'all just got some passionate nights together. So you can't mistake what you've done over a couple of weeks to compare to somebody with a couple of years, 3 or 4 years or longer. So she ain't about to flip on Tariq. You might as well let that go, bro. From there, we see, what's old boy's name? Can't even remember his name. So obviously he's been waiting on Tariq to show up to school this whole time. He shows up and he was like, "Finally." And for some odd reason, this man has a letter from Saxe addressed to him, telling him the whereabouts of Tariq's mom and sister. So I'm like, what the hell, bro? Like, Saxe, even from the grave, as he stated in the letter to Sullivan, he's going to make this world a living hell from his end. Like, he can do a lot more where he is now because there is no fear of retaliation. Who are you going to retaliate against? I'm gone. And I was like, damn. So he pretty much don't put it out there where his mom is stationed. Alright? So old boy tells Tariq, like, "Look, since I know what I know now, the stacks have gone up. I'm talking about 100 stacks at this point." And I'm like, "Look, bro, you about to end up dead real quick. Obviously, I know you just got out of prison. I understand the whole situation. I know how you getting down right now. But at the same time, bro, you messing with people's money on a higher scale at this point. And I'm not talking about Tariq. I'm talking about the likes of Noma, Obi. Shit, I wouldn't even put it past RSJ because right now he's pissed off. And when people got means like RSJ, Noma, and other folks, they got means to be able to get rid of folks as well. So, old boy needs to be careful because if he does something to Tariq, then that's going to cause a ripple effect. And that's going to harm Noma's money. So, anyway, so this man pretty much says, okay, give me your car too. So, Tariq is like, hell, like, what you mean? He's like, yeah. Give me your car, you take my car. So he shows him his ride, which it doesn't look bad, but it's not the Porsche. So so he pretty much says, hey, either it be that or it be your mom. So from there, Tariq gives him the car keys, and the next thing we see is Tariq driving old boy's car. So then he calls the attorney who was over his case and everything like that, and he pretty much conveys to her like, hey, Saxe has given out information to people about my mother's whereabouts. And she was like, no, that's confidential. Like, that stuff is not, to be given out to anybody outside of that, out of that room or out of those documents, right? So obviously he conveys to her, like, you need to put somebody over there, like, right now. You need to put a marshal over there right now. So she's like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. So the next thing we see is Tariq. He's sitting up outside and he's posted up and he sees his mom going in with the groceries and his grandmother, but not the sister, right? So the grandmother is like, look, you need to bring that child in, and you see a marshal outside standing on the porch, keeping watch. And the next thing you see is his sister running down the sidewalk who sees him. And she was like, Tariq, I've been asking, mama for a while to talk to you. And she was like, no. She's like, no, we can't talk right now. So in the midst of that, you hear this car approaching. All right. So Tariq sees the car or hears the car. So he tells his sister to come in close to him and get down low. So when the car passes, I said, damn, that looks like Tommy's car. And it is Tommy's car. So I was like, hell to the no. So Saxe, once again from the grave, has sent another letter out conveying to Tommy the whereabouts of Tasha. Now, we know previously that Tommy was trying to get at Tasha, and that was the whole purpose of her moving to another location that was undisclosed. But obviously, Saxe from the grave is I don't even know what to say. I can't even call it right now. But so Tommy shoots both of the marshals up front, out in the yard. Of course, it's not her because he has a silencer on the gun. He then walks up off in the house, and we see the grandmother. She and Tasha going back and forth about, hey, you need to do things differently, whoop, whoop, whoop. And she was like, go ahead and get her if you want her to come on in. She said, I definitely would. So from there, we see Tasha leaving the kitchen, going into the living room, where we see Tommy coming in with his gun pointed towards Tasha. At that time, Tariq has already ran inside of the house because he saw Tommy running in. So it was like, hell to the no. So Tommy is like, okay, I got you now, Tasha. He's getting ready to shoot her, obviously, because he was like, I'm tired of people snitching, and this is all, pretty much this is how I'm going to dead this right here. So while he's in the midst of talking, he's saying that he got the information from Monet. So I'm wondering, did Saxe say this was from Monet, or what's going down? Because now the message is changing here, right? So I wonder if Saxe is just trying to get rid of all these, all these folks or these individuals in this picture, right? So, man, I don't even know what to say at that point. So then Tariq comes out and he points his gun at Tommy as well. And Tasha, who did not know he was there, is like, Tariq, like, what the hell you doing here? So he was like, look, you're going to have to shoot me because you're not about to shoot my mother right here. And Tommy's like, look, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Pretty much I'm trying to get to her. And right when Tariq is getting ready to shoot his gun because one of the marshals came back in who was not dead and shot but missed and shot at Tommy. Tommy did not miss. Alright? So when Tommy shot him, he was good as gone. So when he was getting ready to shoot, someone knocked Tariq upside the head. So I didn't know if it was his mom or not. Like, where the hell did that come from? I don't think his mom would have shot him or hit him upside the head. Maybe so. Not sure. But anyway, going from there, Tariq wakes up in the hospital, and the attorney that he was talking to, what's her name? What's her name? What's that attorney's name, y'all? It'll come to me. It's going to come to me. I know it will. What's her name? Tamika. I think it's Tamika. Attorney Tamika. What was her last name? Washington. Tamika Washington. Once he wakes up, he sees Attorney Washington standing at his bedside, and she was like, "Look, you got a head injury, Tariq, and there were some dead bodies at the scene of the crime. Your grandmother and your sister was safe, but your mom is gone." So Tariq is like, "Man, what?" So out of all this trying to stash your family away, keep them safe from harm, definitely from Tommy, now all of a sudden your mom is still out there because, of this man from the grave who has decided to make your life a living hell. Anyway, man, I think I've kept you guys long enough. That's pretty much the end of the episode. It is what it is, man. Like I said, this episode, man, was great. It was a great comeback from the little break that we had for 1 week. But it was a great episode, man. A lot of stuff hit the fan. A lot of shit went down. We lost a lot of people in this episode. And I don't know where to go from here. I guess the only way to go right now is down in this show. Because it's about to go down, all right? So with that being said, man, I'm about to get up out of here. Like I said, I've held you guys long enough, and it sounds like my voice is getting ready to go out. These daggone allergies, man. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a thing, man. Also, down below, make sure to leave some comments. What's your thoughts about this episode? Who do you think hit Tariq upside the head? I just want to know your thoughts, man. Let's go ahead and get into the conversation. Now that I've said all of that, peace.